This is Ticats Today.
This is Ticats Today for a Tuesday, September the 21st, 2021, the last day of summer. Yes, fall officially arrives tomorrow, so soak it up while you can, because it's the last day of summer 2021. And I was talking about this with the guys in the office today, that the rest of the fall is basically in the entire CFL season, or at least the rest of the CFL season, as the season will, of course, run until December 12th, the Grey Cup, right here at Tim Hortons Field. But last day of summer today, so soak it in. Maybe spend some time on the barbecue if it doesn't rain tonight, wherever you are. But happy last day of summer. Thanks for tuning in. It's your digital host, Louis B, here on the Ticats Audio Network. Speaking of the Ticats Audio Network, brand new episode, and I'm laughing just thinking about it, but Morreale and Hitch. Those guys are honestly the funniest two people I've heard put together a show, especially around the CFL. But go check it out. Morreale and Hitch, episode 2 dropped today. Definitely worth checking out. And make sure to join us tomorrow on the Ticats Audio Network. We'll have a bonus game day edition of Ticats Today. And then we'll get you set with the pregame, Tiger Cats pregame, presented by Active Green and Ross. It'll be Courtney, Steven, and I getting you set at 6:30, and then we'll hand it off to RJ Broadhead at 7:30 alongside my regular partner in the booth, but Andy Fantus filling in for Luke Tasker. So lots of great stuff here on the Ticats Audio Network. Coming up on today's show, we'll have a nice little sit-down conversation with the special teams coordinator of the Ticats. That's Jeff Reinebold, and a big special teams game for his club back on Friday night, and I'm sure they're hoping for a duplicate performance in Ottawa tomorrow. So we'll catch up with Jeff Reinebold coming up in a bit. We're going to hear from Dylan Wynn, who had some just great quotes from earlier this week that I want to make sure you hear. And we'll also hear from Darius Ciraco, Ticats center, as the offensive line. Again, got to give them praise. I know a lot of people like to talk about them when, they're giving up sacks or when the run's not working, but they did a great job on Friday, and again, looking to duplicate that performance. We're going to check the depth chart in just a second, but first, I want to let you know that the CFL announced today that linebacker Simone Lawrence has been named a CFL top performer for Week 7. He led the Ticats with 8 defensive tackles. He had 1 pass knockdown and added an interception that he returned for a touchdown in the Ticats win over the Stampeders on Friday night. The only touchdown the Ticats would score in that victory. He now leads the league in touchdowns by a defensive player. That's 2. He's tied for 3rd in interceptions with 2, and he's 4th in defensive tackles in 37. So, of course, Simone was the Ticats nominee for Defensive Player of the Year in 2019 and making a strong case for himself for 2021. So congratulations to Simone Lawrence, the second player named a top performer from the Ticats this season, after Frankie Williams was named a top performer, the top performer, the first, back in Week 4. All right, let's take a look at the depth chart, and surprisingly, for a 4th game in 17 days, and seeing how they just played 5 days ago, not too many changes to tell you about. In fact, there's only one. Eddie Wilson II is in, Lee Autry II is out. So a little change in the depth of the defensive line. But other than that, let's start on defense, going left to right defensive line. You got Jaguar Davis, Teddy Laurent, Dylan Wynn, Julian House there. For the 7th game in a row, the linebackers remain the same in Simone Lawrence, Jovan Santos Knox, and Cameron Kelly. And then rounding out the secondary, you got Jamal Roll, this is from left to right, Roll, Brooks, Adeleke, Ciante Evans, and Frankie Williams. And on offense, literally no changes. Up front on the offensive line, you got Okafor, Revenberg, Ciraco, Yarborough, Murray going left to right. Your receivers out wide, you got Stephen Dunbar Jr., David Unger III, and lined up at slot, Jalen Ackland, Tim White, Pappy White, Watford, Bennett, Kalinic up the middle, Taylor Bertolette handling the kicking duties, Michael Domagala handling the punting, and Gordon White handling the long snapping duty, Frankie Williams, kick returning and punt returning, backed up by Pappy White. So there you go. That's how the Ticats will line up tomorrow. And I mentioned Darius Ciraco making his 7th start at center And in those 7 starts, he's had 3 different quarterbacks. So we had a chance to catch up with him to talk to him about this. And here's what he had to say earlier this week after catching up with him after practice.
Happy we got the win. That's the biggest thing. We just consistently improve and just take the good with the bad. So we definitely did some good things in the game, and we want to build off that, but we definitely got to improve in other areas. So that's just kind of our message going in. Absolutely. It's a daily thing. Every day we're trying to get better, just watch that little bit of extra film, be in the weight room a little bit more, recover the body a little bit more. It's just the consistency of building and doing a little bit extra each day. And you got to credit each guy individually. For every man across the board is doing that little bit extra just to try and get better. And it's showing. Oh, it's awesome. He has our full confidence. And honestly, we're just trying to go out there and give the quarterback time to do his thing. Like, we trust all 3 of them. We know all 3 of them can ball, and having David out here has been awesome. He went out and he balled out last week, and we came out with a W. So that's all we can ask for. We just got to go out there and do our job, make sure we give the quarterback and the running back and everybody as much time and space as possible, and let them just do their thing. Oh, it definitely had a big impact. Like, we were out there, we definitely enjoyed pass blocking, but as most linemen, getting after it in the run is what we really love to do. So it was really good. Like, we gave the running back as much space as we could. And honestly, it was just nice to get out there and hit a little bit more. But at the same time, whatever play is called, we're going to go out there and execute as best as we can.
That is Darius Ciraco as he spoke after practice earlier this week. And just wanted to get you one more little clip here. The Ticats didn't have a whole lot of availability this week, having just played on Friday and only practicing yesterday. But did want to get this in from Dylan Wynn, because Dylan Wynn is for sure one of the leaders on this Ticats defense. And when you hear him talk about football, I don't want to say it's refreshing, but it is just so nice to hear someone who cares about the Canadian game, who's passionate about it. And I did want to get this clip in here because I really enjoyed hearing him say it. Go check out the full scrum, because he's always great, but go to ticats.ca, check out his full comments. But did want to get just a little taste of what he had to say heading into this game against Ottawa. He knows their opponent's record, but here's what he had to say after practice this week.
Still trying to find out. We're still early in the season, I think, pretty relatively, in the grand scheme of things. And there's a lot of time to, develop our true identity. But I'm liking how it's going, for sure. A bunch of great men in the room. And, have we stamped what our defense, an identity specifically yet? I don't think so. We're just trying to do the right things and make the plays that come to us. And, we'll see when time, as time goes by. Well, here we focus on a 3-phase attack hugely, especially in the CFL, where the special teams are such a key component, and why I love this Canadian game so much. You can't really win games without all 3. And, if we have to keep plugging away and doing what we can, we have games that offenses, carry us too. And it's not when they're going to get hot, or if they're going to get hot, it's when they're going to get hot. And so we focus, especially on defense, we focus on our job and doing it to the best of our ability. And we know that, if we keep plugging away, good things happen. And we're never worried about our offense. Our offense is going to do what they need to do to get it done. But I like living in a bubble in the way that I only think about our defense when we're out there. And then, I get to be a fan the next day when I'm watching the offense on the TV and seeing how well they played. So it's kind of funny. During the game, I can't tell you how our offense is playing at all, because I'm just so focused on my job and playing great defense.
That is Dylan Wynn as he spoke after practice earlier this week, and some great quotes from him. And I encourage you to go check out the full scrum. It's about 8 or 9 minutes. You go to ticats.ca to check out the full video. Really a deep thinker, Dylan Wynn is. And I always love hearing him talk about football, especially the Canadian game. So go check it out, ticats.ca, for that scrum and all the scrums you may have missed this week. There weren't very many. There was only the one practice day, but go check it out at ticats.ca. All right, if there's one aspect of the Ticats game that's been pretty consistent through the entire season, it's been special teams. And the special teams coordinator of the Hamilton Tiger Cats is Jeff Reinebold, and very pleased to be joined by Coach Reinebold now. And Coach, there's something about this group of guys you seem to have on special teams this year. How would you kind of sum up what you've seen from them through the first 6 games of the season?
Well, first of all, we're really young, which is fun because they're a great group of kids that coach. They, we've gotten, I thought our draft was really outstanding. Our personnel people Drew and everybody did a great job identifying the kinds of players that could come in and make an impact on special teams because, we knew we were going to lose. We had a potential to lose Courtney, Langa, a number of guys who've been great special teams players for us for a number of years. And to replenish that supply, they went out and found guys like Feltmate, Manalo, and Ternowski and Stavros, and on and on and on. It was really a really good young class of Canadians. And then, you throw in Kyle Wilson's and getting Fry back. We really haven't even had Malden very much yet, and he's always been a real important part of that mix. So, they're a young group that is getting better, and just they're hard work. Boy, I tell you, they come to work every day. Newton has done a great job of leading them. I think it'll be really exciting if we can get Daly back in the fold. Then we'll get a nice mix of that youth and enthusiasm and fresh legs and the veterans that have seen it all and done it all, and so it's been a fun group to coach.
What does it say about getting guys to buy into special teams, right? I mean, these guys play college ball. They grow up wanting to make the defense, or because it is a special kind of player that can be put on special teams and actually embrace that role for what it is.
Well, you look at a guy like Nick Cross, for example, who as a rookie, I think has 8 or 9 special teams tackles after 6 games, which is outstanding production. For most guys, for most rookies particularly, that'd be a really good year. And we're not even halfway through the season and he's got those kind of numbers. He was an outstanding player at UBC. And, when we looked at him on tape, he was a guy that was always around the ball. He played hard. He had toughness. And those are the things you look for. And it's been easier here because of the fact that when we go to training camp, one of the things we show them is we have a saying that, we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. And, when you look at the shoulders of, Freddie Plessius and Mark Bestwick and, Nadone and just on and on and on, just really good special team player, Courtney Stephen, and it's easy for them to see the emphasis that we put on it, and that the place that those guys are held in great esteem here inside this locker room and inside this building. And so, for them, it's now their turn to time to take their place, and we challenged them that way early on. Coach O threw it out there to him that every standard is the standard that's set by the individual team. And, Courtney and his crew, and, they set really high standards, began by Bestwick. And now these guys are, kind of creating their own identity.
What can you say about a guy like Frankie Williams?
Man, that dude's a warrior, man. I'm just telling you that people have no appreciation for just how difficult what he is doing is. For him to be as impactful as he is in the game and the return game. And, even last week, he ripped off that 30-yarder at the end of the game. That he did not have the kind of night that, everybody's come to expect with Frankie. Because, with great returners, everybody comes to the stadium expecting that they're going to put one in the end zone every week. And he still ripped off that 30-yarder. And that's against a really good Calgary team. And he did it in the fourth quarter after he'd been playing the entire game at field corner. And that's his toughness and his competitiveness is off the charts. So, I go back, so far in this league that, you think, I remember the Gizmos and the Pinball Clemenses and, the great returners of the past. Well, most of those guys were, situational players on offense or defense. They weren't, they were dedicated returners. Frankie is playing one of the hardest positions to play, which is corner, because you're running all day. And then he has to go back there and both return punts and kickoffs. So I think if we let him, Frankie probably cover punts too. But, he's a battler, man. He's a warrior.
A game like Friday,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously there were special teams turnovers on both sides, but what did you make of a game where it was kind of determined in special teams? You mentioned Frankie's return that set up a short porch. What do you make of those games?
Well, again, that's our job. That's the job that we're given. And however you turn the field, it doesn't matter whether it's with a big return, whether it's, 2 fumble recoveries in that game. You look at it and you go, they started, and this is what, this is the stuff that's hidden away from most fans and most, frankly, media people don't understand the importance. Calgary started 5 of their possessions inside their own 20-yard line after a kicking down. And that's amazing. And if you're able to do that, you're going to get 12 to 14 possessions in a game. Well, 5 of those started inside their own 20-yard line. And our defense is so good that if you make a team start down in there, they're not going to have very much success. And, the same thing is true that we count each week the number of possessions we gain for the offense across the center field line, across the 55, where they're playing not on a Canadian football field, they're playing on an arena football field. And, we were able to do that twice in the game. And, so those are the things that matter to us. Punt return average and kickoff return average and some of that, that's kind of a, it's kind of a statistic that is not as important as what we call DSA, which is drive start average, where we begin the average. I'll just give you last week. Calgary had 10 post-kick possessions. Their average start was the 30-yard line. We had 12 post-kick possessions. Our average start was about the 40. So that's, that if you look at it from a first down standpoint, that's 10 first downs that we got out of our special teams that the offense didn't have to make, and 10 more that the defense didn't have to defend. And so that's, again, how we try and look at the game.
Let's talk about your kickers because, relatively inexperienced. You got Joel Whitford making a pro debut, and I really feel for that kid because he was having, such a great start to the season. Seemed like he was getting more confidence before he got hurt in Toronto warm-ups there. And then, Domagala comes in, and I know he wasn't taking the majority of the punts, but I thought he did a really good job. What have you seen from your kickers? Taylor Bertolette going 5 for 5. What have you seen from your kickers that's impressed you through the start of the season?
Well, you mentioned the 2 imports, and I consider Joel an import because he's not grown up with the CFL game. He's not grown up with this field, with all the nuances of the game in the kicking game. So he's learning on the job. And the same thing's true with Bertolette. It was unfortunate for Bertolette early in the season that the only 2 opportunities he had were over 50-yard attempts in Saskatchewan, which is a tough place to kick. But he kept battling through it. And when he got set down, I talked to him and he said, "Hey, coach, it's not going to change anything about the way I practice or do my job." And he was exactly that. And then when he got a chance to come back and perform again, he was 5 for 5 the other night, which, was really, frankly, the difference in the game. Dom has been a real pleasant surprise. He's young, but he's one of those kids that, you give him a task and he's going to do it as best as he can do it. Now, to go out and punt in the Toronto game, that's the first time he's ever punted in pro football. Yeah. And then to come back last week and have to do it again against Calgary's, one of the better special teams in the league. And so, I'm proud of him. I think, everybody in the world blamed him for missing the extra point at the end of the game against Toronto, and he could have gone in his shell and hidden, and he didn't, and he owned up to it, and then came back and competed the next week. And I thought, except with the exception of one punt, actually punted very well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then we'll wrap up here because I always love seeing long snappers get some respect. And it was nice seeing Aaron Crawford back. And not respect, but just I like seeing their names show up on the score sheet. So I saw Aaron Crawford was back with Calgary. I think Gordon White going out there and recovering that fumble. I mean, that you got to love the kind of effort that you've seen from Gordon White kind of playing in that long snapper position this season.
Yeah, that again was another one of those situations where, the personnel guys, we had drafted Gordon previously, came to training camp in 2019, and actually I wanted to keep him on the practice squad, and he chose to go back to St. FX and finish, his eligibility. And he came back and, he's replacing Crawford, and Crawford is as good as there is in this league right now. But, when, as a organization, everybody's always looking to be younger and cheaper. And, Whitey has come in and taken over a tough job and done extremely well with it. And he does give you some things that Craw doesn't. He doesn't have Craw's velocity yet on his snaps, but he is a guy that will go down there and stick his nose in there, and he's not just your typical long snapper who snaps it and then waddles down the field and tries to stay out of the contact. He sees himself as a football player, and he wants to go down there and he sits in all the linebacker meetings with Coach Ross. He does the linebacker individual drills. I think in his heart, if he ever got a football card, it'd say, Gordon White linebacker instead of Gordon White long snapper. But that's okay by me. It's just as long as he keeps throwing strikes.
There you go. Coach, always love connecting with you. We'll have to do it again soon. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you very much, Louis. Keep doing your thing, man.
My thanks to the special teams coordinator of the Ticats, Jeff Reinebold, for giving me some time today. And my thanks to you for checking us out here on the Ticats Audio Network. Really do appreciate it. You can always let me know your feedback by hitting me up on Twitter at @LouisB_TV. You can just hit up the Ticats if you want to, at Ticats. Let us know what you think here at the Ticats Audio Network. Is there a show you'd want to recommend? Guests you want to hear? Let us know. Hit me up at LouisB_TV. Thanks for checking us out. We're back tomorrow with a special game day edition of Ticats Today. So check your subscription, check the podcast page a little bit earlier than normal, and then join us at 6:30 on the Ticats Audio Network, ticats.ca, the Ticats All Access app, and 900 CHML. We'll get you set. That's Courtney, Steven, and I will get you set for the game in Ottawa, and then we'll hand it off to RJ Broadhead and Andy Fantuz. I hope you have a great night. Thanks again for checking us out. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. For the Ticats Audio Network, I'm Louis B. Hoping you have a great day.